Good morning, everybody. How are we all doing? Sam here, United People's TV. I've just realised I didn't update the overlay at the at the bottom. Let me see if I can do this whilst I'm talking. It's the 12th of March. It's the day before the biggest day of the year. Yes, it's my birthday. Not doing much. Don't know why I'm celebrating. Can't even walk. But we are here to talk about Man United. Well, I say Man United. John Murtough and Matt Hargreaves being in Barcelona and Madrid, what they're doing there. We're going to run through an article from the Times suggesting that PSR, FFP, whatever you want to call it, might affect INEOS' decision with Erik Ten Hag. A little bit more detail on their opinions on Ten Hag. I'm going to run through that in a little bit. Then we're going to speak about, well, there's lots of other news to speak about, really. There's lots. Let me try and get this updated. How you all doing? Let me know. Let me know. I'm tired today. I haven't slept properly in like 3-4 days, and it is getting to me. Sod it. That one can stay up. Oh, can it? That's when you know I'm tired, when I'm missing stuff like this. There are a million things to sort before every single show. Most of the days I get it good. Not today. It's not even called FFP anymore. FFP PSR. Affect INEOS' decision with Ten Hag. Let's go for that. Let's just pretend this didn't happen, right? Perfect start to a show. The things you got to do behind the scenes. The things that nobody sees. Boy, you've accidentally seen it today. We're in the game. We're in the game. Nothing happened. Perfect start. Let's see who's here for November Gang. Good morning to Carl, Miles, DP. Good morning to you. Vicky, Ant, you're there. Josh, James Maycock, Simon McGill, Rodney Botchway. It's a good name. Like that. Got Jason watching from Texas. How you doing? Jordan, Carl. We've got Aaron, Ines, and let's go one more. Steve-O. How you doing, man? Who's here on Facebook? Let's have a quick look. Alex Rice, good morning to you. Matt Frost. We've got Siraj, John Lane, Edred Jones, Maurice Kelly. Good morning to all of you. Should be a good show. Lots of things to discuss. As always, let me know your opinions, all that jazz in the comments. Let's get into it. My hoodie's not sitting right. Always annoying. This is a weird, sometimes at the start of the show, very smooth, Johnny, very smooth. No one saw a thing. It was a flawless intro. Oh, can't laugh about it. This was weird, right? I'm not sure if you saw this. Well, you might not have, right? This is Tim Sherwood, right? Sometimes at the start of the show, I just like to speak about things around football, not just necessarily United. There's a couple of talking points here before we get into the conversation around Erik Ten Hag and this idea that how much it costs to sack him would be a deciding factor in whether or not he keeps his job, which I think is a ridiculously flawed concept. I'll run through that. This is Tim Sherwood speaking to Cole Palmer, directly to Cole Palmer, after Chelsea's 3-2 win against Newcastle yesterday. Listen to what he said to him. Talk about a loaded question, right?
Need is some players to play with. I know you can't say that, but I'm saying it. I just think you need more quality around you. For me, he needs to build the team around you. The quality where you have. But that'll come with a few transfer windows, hopefully, once he gets the right players in.
Yeah, there's a lot of quality there. Like, not just me. We've got loads of other players, so hopefully the team can gel a bit more than everyone is.
Man, that is such a ridiculous question for a pundit to ask a player to his face. Like, properly, that's just trying to... It's like a loaded question. You're trying to provoke a response. Cole Palmer, by the way, United need to bring him back to Manchester. Guy is tearing it up at City. Sorry, at City. Opposite, actually. Left City. And he's tearing it up in a massively dysfunctional Chelsea team. Can we just go there? Bring him back to Manchester. Palmer would be a lovely signing. Tim Sherwood. Crap manager. Even worse pundit. It's just a really weird thing. I'm pretty sure that Cole Palmer is a United fan as well, isn't he? I might have made that up. Don't know. Well, he would be if he joined us. I just thought that was a really, really odd thing to do to a young player as a pundit. There's responsibilities, and I don't think that falls inside it. I just think it's a very strange thing to do. Another bit of big news that's happened just now. Confirmation that Michael Edwards is going back to Liverpool. FSG have kind of given him the keys, really. He's not going to be the sporting director. He's going to be much higher than that. I don't know whether it's a CEO position. I don't know. But Liverpool are getting their structure in place. Obviously, they're going through a massive transition period. Jurgen Klopp leaving. They need a new CEO, a new sporting director, a new manager. They've now got Michael Edwards in place. So that's pretty good for Liverpool, if you're being completely honest. Richard Hughes is going to be leaving. I think he's left Bournemouth as technical director, and he's going to be joining in as a new sporting director. I'm going to speak about Dan Ashworth a little bit later in the show. I'll be honest, it's all gone a bit quiet on the Western Front around that. Not much is being said about Dan Ashworth. I'm hoping that the silence is good. I'm hoping that at some point, randomly, boom, Man United have agreed to compensation, and I think it is a matter of time. Carl, you're saying you don't want Cole Palmer at United. Well, you might be in the minority there, dude. That guy is a player. An absolute player. Imagine saying that you don't want him at United. God, what you want to keep Anthony on the right wing then? There was an article that was published, I think, this morning by The Athletic on Anthony. And this jump out stat that came. And I was like, bloody. I mean, I knew it anyway, but just when you hear it and you read it, the only goal that Anthony has scored this season is against Newport County. It is the 12th of March. The 12th of March. And Anthony has scored one goal against Newport. Yeah, wow, my God. And this is what I always say, and I always encourage everybody to do. Don't be too harsh on your judgments of players in their first seasons at Manchester United. I know we want immediate results, and I know some players are capable of it. All right? Look at Ron Van Persie, for example. The perfect example. Lose the league on goal difference. Van Persie comes in, bangs in 30 goals. We win the league. Perfect. Not everybody can do that. I'm going to be speaking at Origami down there. Nice username. Like that. Anybody watching Shogun? Watched 2 episodes yesterday. No spoilers on the 3rd. I'm enjoying it. I'm very much enjoying it. Ahmad deleting posts. I'm going to be speaking about that. It feels like it's more of a story than it needs to be. That's probably what my sort of opinion on that. Vicky, you saying Mason Mount's back in training? What's that? Oh, look at that. Come on then. That was a weird noise that just came out of my mouth. What was that about? Go on then, let's bring this up here before we move into the main story for today. But boy, oh boy. Oh, that's rubbish. Mason Mount's back in training. Who is Mason Mount? It'll be like a new signing. How many games has Mason Mount missed? Yeah, sorry, Miles, about that noise. That was a weird noise. Might be turning 35, but I can still sound like a 6-year-old. Look at that. It's just flexibility in this voice. I used to be in a choir. Fun fact, not really that fun. Didn't last very long. I think I was in year 7 and I was too innocent. And then in year 8, so when I realised what you could get away with, I was like, nah, never mind. See ya. And I turned into a bit of a tyrant at school. But kids, behave. Anyway, Mason Mount being back in training. 60 mil signing, and he's hardly been able to kick a ball through injury. Typical, really. Nuruddin, I just see you just gifted a membership there to Angela. My mum's name, that. Big up Angela there. Big up my mum. And big up to Nuruddin. Thank you very much for gifting that membership. Gerald's saying, how's your leg getting any better? The leg's all right, but I'm not sleeping properly right now. Really, really annoying me. And there's a mouse in my house. I'm not in mine. I live in a block of flats, and it's in between the walls. And it's infuriating me. Because there's nothing I can do apart from bang the wall and hope it doesn't come back. That's a very weird first 10 minutes of the show here today. But let's actually go into the main talking point that I know a lot of you want to discuss, right? Erik Ten Hag's future. It's the most important decision that INEOS have got to make. And in a long list of important decisions that they need to make. We've already got our CEO. We're getting our sporting director. We're probably getting a head of recruitment. They're the 3 main positions of power, but there's also going to be widespread change behind the scenes as well. Our head of first team rehab has already left. That's Gary O'Driscoll, the head doctor who made that decision. He's doing his own sort of audit of the medical side of stuff. in the same way that Dave Brailsford is doing an audit of the wider business. And I'll be honest, it feels like it could be a video I could do today, but I just don't see how many or any of Manchester United's medical staff are worthy of being kept at the club until next season. Honestly, and I know that Erik Ten Hag, and we'll speak about it, as I said, the article from the Times next. Erik Ten Hag's style of football is not conducive to an injury-free season. The way that we're playing, we kind of play like basketball a lot of the time, don't we? A lot of long-distance sprints, front to back, big spaces that need to be covered, high intensity, because you don't have the ball so much. You are chasing the ball a ton. And because of that, you are more susceptible to injuries. Like Mason Mount's been out with how many hamstring injuries? Luke Shaw's got 2 hamstring injuries. There's a lot of muscular injuries. Now, partly you can put that on Erik Ten Hag if you want, and I think that's fair. I think partly it will be down to his training intensity. I think it will be down to the style of play. But the Malacia situation is the weirdest one, right? Let me quickly put a photo up of him because I need to. Again, it feels like this probably should be the talking point today, right? Because this is, man, I still love that photo. That was one of my. This is one of my favourite photos from last season, actually. Right. What's happened with Malacia is. It's outrageous. He's going to miss the entire season. All right, Erik Ten Hag has said it's very unlikely that he comes back. He just everything around Malacia is not confusing, but it's just there's been a complete lack of clarity about it from the very beginning, right? From the very beginning, going into the preseason, Malacia, he's out with what, a knee injury? No one really knew if it was a knee. Was it a knee injury? I don't know. He's not here. Anyway, Malacia missed the whole preseason. And it goes in and it gets to, when was it? I think it was about, this is why I said this deserves a video unto itself. I think it was around about October, November time, people talking about Malacia coming back, and then it was just like, disappeared again. And then there wasn't really a massive explanation. It wasn't Erik Ten Hag explaining, oh, he's had botched surgery, which is what it's been discussed as now. But whatever has happened with Malacia, he's missed the entire season. There are people that have ACL reconstruction surgery that come back quicker than what Malacia has done. And if you're telling me that you're going to put that on Erik Ten Hag, then good luck. And there's people that are trying to put on Ten Hag the fact that Reguilon was let go in January and went back to Spurs. No. Erik Ten Hag let Reguilon go back to Spurs on the recommendation of Manchester United's medical staff, who said, yeah, we're cool. Malacia will be back soon. Luke Shaw, he's going to be all right. The Luke Shaw one was, well, that always, Luke Shaw carries inherent injury risks, right? But the medical staff said to Erik Ten Hag, Malacia is going to be back. So something has changed from January to now that's now ruling him out for the season. And we don't have clarity on that either. It's weird. It's really weird, man. And yeah, this whole medical department needs to be just... Yeah, look, Urian Timber did his ACL in the first game of the season. He's back. And like the super chat, dude, you're saying can't really blame Erik Ten Hag too much. It was Jose that decimated our medical and sports departments. Medical and sports science departments. Man, just injuries have existed. I wouldn't say it was even Jose. Before that, LVG. United have just had consistently really poor injury records this season, though. It's got to be the worst. Absolutely got to be the worst. And as I said, I think Erik Ten Hag's style of football doesn't help, but I don't think it's the biggest contributing factor. Personal opinion. Right, let's move on to the main talking point here today. And this is around an article from the Times. And this concept, look, I'm going to read through the article and I want you to let me know what you think in the comments below. But the overall headline concept there is that the fact that it would cost INEOS 10 million, thereabout, to sack Erik Ten Hag and his staff is a contributing factor to INEOS keeping him at the club, which is just a very strange concept. I think so anyway. I'm going to run through the... man, it is there's more conspiracy theories in these comments than there are about Kate Middleton and those AI photos. Big up, David. Nice to see you there joining as a member. Nuruddin, you just gifted a membership again. Katie, how you doing, man? You know, partners for life. And I'm Potato, coming in strong. It is strange, isn't it? This idea that INEOS, Ratcliffe, will pay £1.5 billion to buy Manchester United. And they're doing a full sweep of our football club. Complete audit. And then the reason that they're not going to sack a manager, or the reason that they're not going to replace a manager, is because it will cost them 10 mil. I mean, RR. Now, Carl, there's no sound on the 1 membership. There's a sound on a 5 membership. Come on, man. You should be learning this by now. Oh, Nuruddin as well, man. You are proper legends. By the way, this is going to be fun. Sorting out, and I apologise that this has taken so long. I've just been doing a lot of stuff. It's not because I've been ignoring it, but I'm sorting out the format for the Q&As now for the members in Discord, where you're going to be able to send in your questions. It can be anything completely unrelated to football, kind of more of an informal chat between me and you as members. Yeah, I'm sorting out the format with Joe, and we're going to get that launched, and hopefully we'll do our first Q&A maybe this week or next week. And I'm hoping to get the arms back as well open. I just had to take a few games off from the arms because, ironically, my leg, the arms and the feet.
I can't believe it. Football, bloody hell.
Yes, Nuruddin. Let's get into the show now, right? I say the show. We're 17 minutes into it, as if we're not in the show. But this talking point here, right? Let me know what you think in the comments, right? I want to run through it. INEOS' decision regarding Ten Hag's future will be partly influenced by the cost of dismissing him. Host of intermediaries has started touting their clients. We already know that. There is a feeling in some quarters at United that it would only be fair to Ten Hag if he were judged once the new owners have their preferred structure in place. The Dutchman is well respected among the INEOS hierarchy, and there is a feeling that he has not been helped by the structure surrounding him, which is being remodelled by United's new investors. Now, we already know that's the case, right? We already know that Jim Ratcliffe, but you go back to here to what Jim Ratcliffe has spoken about, and he's made it clear that he knows in the last 11 years, Manchester United have had a lot of coaches and nobody has been successful in that environment. What does that tell you? The environment is poor. So I do think that INEOS absolutely will sympathise with Erik Ten Hag. And what we saw in that first season, basically United from November to the end of February, was when I was like, that's it. And then February to the end of the season was when it kind of went the other way. Wasn't it? I think so anyway. David, you gifted 5 memberships as well. Thank you so much, dude. Nice to have you on board. Thermendrin, it's your birthday today. Tomorrow's your son's. He turns 1 with you. Look at that, Thermendrin. Isn't your son lucky? Happy birthday to both of you anyway. I've spoken about just the widespread changes that are happening at this club. However, this idea that the reason that Ten Hag would be kept on would be not a financial reason. Like they're not sacking him because they don't have the money. All right, they're sacking him because on the books, that's basically taking 10 million off being able to spend it on a player. It's just a weird one. Like I'd like to think I've made my opinion clear. I would love Erik Ten Hag to come through all of this for us to have an incredible summer transfer window. Nail it. 3 or 4 absolute first team changing signings. We sell the right players and our squad becomes incredibly better. We improve our medical department. We have a sporting structure in place. And next season, we're like, wow, okay. We start to see the Erik Ten Hag football that we saw between November and February. And then we build on it because our squad's even better. I'd love to see that. That would genuinely be my preference. But I doubt whether that's possible. And that's just me being a realist. I still don't know what's going to happen. But I think the idea that a 10 million cost being a reason why it doesn't happen, why a decision isn't made, is outrageous. It is completely outrageous. Nearly as outrageous as Nuruddin consistently just inviting you all in.
Can't believe it. Football, bloody hell.
It's like the world's best pub. Another 10 gifted memberships. Dude, love you, man. Thank you very much for continuing to help make this community what it is. What we've got coming this week. I've got a deep dive on the academy that I want to release. And we've got to figure out the right day to do that. We're going to have a pretty cool video, I think, on Gary Neville, which I think there's something that needs to be said about Gary Neville that isn't being said. And that video is going to come out before the Liverpool game. There's more inside this article, though. Let's keep going down, all right? Brad will become the new chief. Ashworth, we already know about. John Murtough, the present footballing director, was in Spain. I'm going to run through that next. There is an acceptance, however, that Ten Hag will be on shaky ground if United fail to qualify for the Champions League, but sacking the manager and his coaching staff would likely cost more than 10 mil. I just don't think this is... I might be incorrect, right? Because this is one thing that I find really frustrating about covering United right now. I really want more like definitive clarity on being able to tell you how much United can actually spend this summer. How much Manchester United's PSR rules genuinely affects our ability to spend this summer. But you'll notice that The Athletic, The Times, The Telegraph, the BBC, any major establishment kind of avoids putting an exact number to it because it shifts. So this may well be somewhat correct. The fact that it's being factored in, but it shouldn't be. But it might be. And I find that really quite annoying because it makes it harder for us to sort of accurately predict what's going to happen, for us to accurately predict what our budget will be this summer. That's going to be massively changed by who we sell, what sort of players we sell. Because, of course, academy graduates that are sold go down as profit because they're not amortized deals. It seems stupid to me, the concept that a 10 million payoff would be a reason why INEOS made a decision about Ten Hag. Like we've been, everything that we've heard and seen so far from INEOS has been about making the correct decision for elite sporting performance reasons. Bringing in Omar Barada, bringing in Dan Ashworth, getting rid of people. It's got nothing to do with how much it costs or how much it saves. It's got to do with being the right decision. And that's what I want INEOS to do. I personally, and I know that not everyone will be in this case, I'm going to agree with the decision that INEOS make. I'm going to trust them at the start because I want them to succeed. I will scrutinise, as I always have this whole entire time, but I have to trust that our new owners are going to make the right decision. It's just a bit of an interesting one. And you know, down here, right, and we go through all of this. I'm not sure if you saw this yesterday. So there's been a big payoff being planned between the Premier League and the EFL. the rest of the Football League, around like I don't know whether you call it a parachute payment or not, but it's a funding structure for the Football League. They've been trying to push this through for a while, and they expected it to be voted through and passed this week, and it wasn't, right? And read this one line here. 2 lines, actually. Current profit and sustainability rules, which have led to Everton and Nottingham Forest being charged this season, are being phased out in favour of a system broadly aligned with squad costs. So the PSR system, right, that we don't particularly know about, that's going to be phased out. But look at this down here. The Premier League is understood to have been advised PSR reform is a priority, as the situation is complicated by a member club, believed to be City, threatening a separate legal challenge over a tightening of the rules on associated party transactions. Who could have predicted it? Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have possibly predicted that it's City that are going to be angry with those rules? Those same rules that they have just flouted for years and years and years. Bringing in a sponsorship from a company which is co-owned by their owner and just inflating all their revenues. Oh, who could possibly have seen this coming? Apart from absolutely everybody. 115 reasons. This is exactly why the Premier League went after them. Remember, it was the Premier League who went against City. It was the league itself who went against City. God, I hope that City just... I tell you, I'd rather Chelsea fold first. But I just hope that... Truth be told, we know how power works. If you're rich enough and you're powerful enough, you're probably going to get your own way. In some way, shape or form. But all this PSR talk and FFP and what you can spend, it's all going to change anyway. They're going to be phased out in favour of a system broadly aligned with squad costs, which is, if I remember correctly, the UEFA's rules, I think, are down in the threefold. And one of the rules is to do with squad cost, I think, compared to revenue. So the concept is that, as far as I know, the UEFA rules were that in year one, your squad cost, so how much you're putting on wages and stuff like that, is allowed to be 90% of your revenue in year one. In year two, that drops to 80%. In year three, that drops to 70%. And 70% was where it's going to be. And it was a slow progression and staggered reduction. I don't know whether that's changing now. But all these, it's just nonsense everywhere, man. Around the rules, around just clubs getting called out for the backhanded ways that they've avoided the same rules that everybody else has followed. And they don't like it now that those rules are finally... Is it too late? Has the horse already bolted? Yeah, the horse has already bolted. But it's not too late. And the fact that City are threatening a legal challenge over tightening of rules on associated party transaction tells you it is not too late. Tells you it's still impacting the books. And it tells you that it's the right thing to do. Nuruddin, man. I may as well just rename. Welcome to Nuruddin People's TV now, ladies and gents. Let's have a little party for him. Not for me. My birthday's not irrelevant. Not irrelevant? Not relevant. Oh. You just gifted 50, man. Can you just stop gifting and just go Man United and just buy us a couple of players? I reckon that's a good idea. I really think that's a good idea. Oh, whoops. How old am I? 36? Don't add a year on, Pyro. That's ridiculous. Need a Nuruddin emoji. No, man. Welcome to Nuruddin People's TV. I'll do the rebranding this week. All right?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hit that spotlight. Mate, you're a dude, man. You're a dude. I'm going to leave it up there. Might put your face on it. That'd be a bad thing, actually, no. It's a bad idea. Sometimes I come with bad ideas. Quite a lot, actually. Anyway, Nuruddin, you're not allowed to gift anymore. Just go and buy some players. Right. Who do we want Nuruddin to buy? We'll get him to buy... I reckon go for a central midfielder first. Or maybe right-sided centre-back. Well, I'm not fussy. All right? But look, let's go through and let's get into this part of the show. Because I think this is going to be an interesting chat. This right here is a video of John Murtough and Matt Hargreaves, who still remains the director of negotiations at Manchester United. I don't know how long he's not going to be here in the long term. I imagine Matt Hargreaves is going to be one of the one of the people who leave when we've got Dan Ashworth joining. That whole thing will be restructured. Okay? But John Murtough and Matt Hargreaves in Barcelona, meeting with officials, meeting with Barca sporting director Deco and a couple of agency representatives. And then on top of that, right, you got this. You got John Murtough being in Madrid. So in the same day, John Murtough, who of course, I think John Murtough will not be in his position. What is he? I don't know what his role is. Is he? I think he's football director. I don't actually know. But I think it's football director. But he's also in Madrid. Why do you think that he was out there? Now, the first thing I'm going to I say is this gives me PTSD. Seeing a blurry video of Murtough walking around Barcelona. Damn. Remember that, man. Do you remember when I think it was David Ornstein dropped the news that Man United had agreed a fee? I think it was 85 million. Oh, man, I remember my excitement, man. And I stand by what could have been different had that deal gone through. And what could have been different if Manchester United as a football club had a proper plan B. Deary me. But I think I can see a lot of you saying it in the comments, and a lot of you may be correct. This is what I mean. I'm not sure what my lunchtime video is today. My lunchtime video, I might do some more research into this. Who were they with? What players did they represent? What players at Barcelona are running out of contract maybe next season? So you can, if you look at that, then you can maybe understand what players they might be having conversations about, because we all know that Barcelona are skint. But Mason Greenwood, if we go back to this Paul Hurst article speaking about Erik Ten Hag, we go down here. Right. Speaking about Mason Greenwood, he says down here, Mason Greenwood would be happy to extend his move. He's enjoying life in Spain. And I think he goes in the summer. Right? Oh, that's the wrong one. I think Mason Greenwood does leave Manchester United in the summer. I don't know whether Barcelona or Real Madrid would want to sign him. I don't know whether they would want to deal with the backlash that would come with that. But he's enjoying himself out in Spain. And Manchester United should get a very decent price for Mason Greenwood. Money that we can then reinvest back into our squad. Don't know what that is. I think we had a conversation about it before. Greenwood for Pedri and Gavi. Go on in, lads. Greenwood for Frankie. Maybe Rafinha coming the other way. Maybe. Maybe not. Don't quite know. Latest member, Shane Neal. How you doing, man? Mate, Nuruddin, you're such a dude, man. Thank you so much for continuing to help. I don't know what they were out there for, but I think it feel like it could be worthy of a lunchtime video. So I'll probably do my lunchtime video either on that or on just the medical department disaster that is Manchester United. That's what I think. Anyway, if I can ask, if you can drop a like on the video if you're enjoying yourself, and subscribe to United People TV if you're new. Vicky's saying, when was the last swap deal? They don't exist anymore. They don't really. When was the last true swap deal? That sounds like a proper pub quiz question, that. Like, swap deals exist all the time in like FIFA and Football Manager and stuff like that, but in real life, it's kind of rare. I think, didn't we? Don't know whether it's the last one, but maybe the last one United did. Was it Mkhitaryan? And who came the other way? Sanchez. Is that what it was? Was it Mkhitaryan and Sanchez? Was that the last one? I don't know. I think that was a straight swap. Oh, there you go. Loads of you in the comments are saying that. That worked out. Bing. I still think that's the single worst transfer that we've done post Fergie. Easily. I really, really think that is the biggest mistake that we made. I still think that we're reeling from the culture that Alexis Sanchez's arrival had at our football club, and the massively inflated wages that we're still trying to get past. I would definitely argue that. I'm not sure who else would come close, really. Di Maria? I think Anthony's going to be part of that conversation now. I don't know how to react anymore. I really don't. Because I just feel like I'm almost sounding ungrateful. But I've got to kill the lights for the main man again. I'm just going to have to do this stream in darkness now.
4,
Turn off.
3, 2, 1.
Nuruddin, you really are an angel. There he is, up there. Bing! Every community has its heroes, man. And Nuruddin is one head of a dude, man. Can I just say, everybody, please join the Discord. I can't sort of encourage you enough. The Discord is a proper home for this community. And this community just grows and grows and grows. Please come on board. I'd love to have you there. Now, there's still, 37 minutes into the show. We've still got a good 15 minutes to talk here through some key points. Now, this is, I think, a really interesting one. The Don of the Gong. I like that, Stephen. That might stick. There was an interview with Matt Lawton in the Times yesterday from Joe Ravitch. Joe Ravitch, who I think is the head at Rain Group, a partner at Rain Group, who was involved in the sale of Manchester United, the sale of Chelsea. Now, you might remember, during the whole process, we don't need to go back and speak about that. There was a point where the Washington Commanders were being sold. And it was a relevant point, NFL team, Washington Commanders. It was a relevant point because they were going to be sold for a world record fee for a sports franchise, if you want to call it that, for a sports team. And at the time, I remember us talking about it on here. It was like comparing apples and oranges in terms of the value of an NFL team compared to Manchester United and the profitability, and it just didn't really make any sense. Yet we've now got it from the horse's mouth here, from Joe Ravitch, that's exactly what the Glazers did. When the Washington Commanders went for $6 billion, we all thought, well, United is the most important sports team in the world, more than 1 billion fans. We know that if somebody is willing to pay $6 billion for the Commanders, somebody should be willing to pay more for Manchester United. It's right there from the horse's mouth. And I felt it at the time, even though it didn't make complete logical sense when you really stood back, and I can't remember all the information now off the top of my head. I just know that it didn't really make sense to use that as a comparison for the price. But it's exactly what the Glazers did and why they dug their heels in. And it's just, I don't know, just found that as like an interesting bit of information. Dennis with a very good comment there saying Nuruddin should probably take charge of the summer signings. Liam, you're going to get, I'm going to get FFP inquiries. I'm going to go to YouTube. A legal challenge against YouTube. I won't. Just found that curious. Now, this is definitely a talking point. I'm glad I waited until 40 minutes into the show. Yesterday, social media was rife with talking about Amad Diallo. And he's deleted all his posts in the United shirt. Oh, he's fallen out with the manager. Oh, Ten Hag's man management has been awful. Oh, and then you see it begins. And as soon as I saw all of that, I held back from speaking about it because I felt that something else would happen. And there's Amad Diallo here. This is what he said. I've deactivated my social media for a month just to focus on Ramadan. Stop the hatred. There's nothing wrong with what I did. It's a holy month for me, and social media is a place where there are bad things to see during fasting. Now, I just found it, I don't know. I just found it a bit weird. And not weird, it's just, not everything has to be considered news. Not everything is news. Some things just happen and you don't have to shine a huge spotlight on it. And a bit like Big Mavinsky down there, that doesn't stack up. And then it's just like, it's just, I don't know. I just didn't feel like it was a newsworthy thing. And now it's going to change the opinions and mindset of a lot of United fans with Amad Diallo. And it's more, it's like if you're a detective, right? And if you're a detective in a case, I don't know why this has come to my head. If you're a detective in a case and you suspect somebody, you haven't really got the evidence for it, but you suspect somebody. When you then start looking for evidence, you're probably going to start looking for evidence which kind of ties into what you've already got up there. And therefore, you're going to have a bit of a bias towards that evidence. And you're going to start spotting things that sort of fit what you want to fit. And people who want to believe that Erik Ten Hag, and say that, I'll be honest, Erik Ten Hag's man management can and should be questioned, really, with certain players. I think that's a fair thing to say. But all this just feeds into that narrative. The confirmation, but I don't know what it is to describe it. But this is just going to be another stick to beat Ten Hag with now. And like Amad, for example, a perfect example here of players, not players, sorry, of fans moving the goalposts. All right, because it's like if you want to find a problem, you'll find a problem. If you're a partner, right, and you go, your partner's left the room and you get their phone out and you start looking through their phone, right? What do you think you're going to find on there? You're not going to find a random love letter on that phone. That, I'm so glad I looked. You're going to find dirt because you're looking for it. With United fans, with Ten Hag this season, with Anthony, for example, when Sancho was at the club, Erik Ten Hag is using Anthony as a favourite. He's pure favouritism towards Anthony. That's why Sancho's left. And then as soon as Sancho left and Anthony was dropped for like a good while, then the conversation can't be about Erik Ten Hag favouring Anthony anymore. So right, Amad. Right, let's move on. Next person that we can point to. Erik Ten Hag is not giving enough time to Amad. Amad this, Amad that, because you can't talk about Anthony this and Anthony that anymore because he's not favouriting him anymore. And it's just like, it's like you're permanently looking for something to be pissed off about. There always has to be a gripe. And even if the gripe that you had, nobody can have that gripe about Erik Ten Hag favouriting Anthony anymore. Favouriting, doesn't make sense, that word. Is that a word? Favouriting? I think it does. They can't say it about Anthony anymore, so then it's got to move on to Amad. And then as soon as something changes with Amad, it will go to someone else. It's like, you permanently have to be pissed off with somebody or something. Favouring. Yeah, I don't know. I knew favouriting didn't make sense in my head. Thank you very much, Carl. Always looking for something. It's just boring. Jordan is saying, "Come on, Sam, you're a journalist. You would definitely know what they would be looking for." Yeah, it's the Amad one. As soon as that happened yesterday, I was like, it's probably just going to come out with statements explaining it, and he has, and it just feels like a bit of a non-story. Nuruddin down there, you were having an absolute party today in the comments, man. It is properly Nuruddin's show today. He gifted another 5 memberships, little ones and here's. Little one there for Cal Williams. Look, your name's on top of the screen now, Cal. Big up to you. Who's the latest subscriber? Puko2. Do you remember Timu? Is it Timu Puki? Played for Norwich when they came up. English is my first language. I was having a brain fart. I've not had much sleep in these last few days. Dan Ashworth, right? I was hoping that we would have had an announcement, all right? I was hoping there was going to be an agreement. But it's as I said, it's all gone a bit quiet on the Western Front. There's not been much in terms of movement. There's not really been an update. And I expect there probably won't be until an agreement is made. I think the last thing we heard was, from Luke Edwards from the Telegraph last week. That Man United were sort of floating around the 12 million mark as compensation. But the Newcastle didn't want Dan Ashworth to be allowed to be involved in any sort of transfer activity. Vicky, you're saying it's about when Newcastle find a replacement. I don't think that's got anything to do with it, Vicky, because he's already on gardening leave. Dan Ashworth is already not working for Newcastle. So them getting a replacement in doesn't really change how quickly this decision goes with United. It's just down to compensation, and it's just down to when they agree that he can work for Manchester United. That's all this is about. So it's not like like being in a house chain and you've got to wait for the house you're buying from to get there so you can move in. We don't need to wait for Newcastle to get their new sporting director at all. They're two completely separate things. I saw this story here from Simon Stoney from the BBC about John Murtough, right? Saying United officials have got sympathy for John Murtough, given he's been asked to execute deals, a job it was not envisaged he would have when he arrived in 2014. And I covered this in the deep dive into the transformation of United's academy, which we will be putting out, I reckon, this week. We'll see. I'll decide what the best day is. And if you watch that video, it's kind of a 10-minute video that will help you understand all the structural changes that happened over these last 7 or 8 years in the academy, from Nicky Butt, the work he did, and the work that John Murtough did, and the good work that John Murtough did, by the way. I know that it will gets lost, and John Murtough, not the only example of it, but a big example of Manchester United internally promoting a person who was not fit for the job because they didn't want to relinquish power by bringing in somebody from outside the club who would actually do the job properly, but would challenge the status quo of the power of the Glazers. That's what they didn't want. And that's why we've just had improper people doing jobs. That technically wasn't John Murtough's fault, but unfortunately he's just he's part of it, and he's not been a success. I could envisage INEOS moving him back into a role towards the academy, but I don't know whether he would actually want to do that. It's an interesting one, that. Right, what's the last couple of talking points we got here? Oh yeah, pull this up. What do you reckon about this? You know what it's like with kit leaks. Kit leak here, kit leak there, from like an Instagram account that's got like, I don't know, 150 followers. Manchester United's new kit next season. I'll tell you what, I quite like the gold badge. I think you remember the AIG one? I swear that was a gold badge. That was the white one. I loved that kit. It had the little gold collar trim. Fun fact, I had that kit because I went to Tenerife when I was 17 in 2006. And I bought me and my mate 2 matching kits. Fun fact. Still got that shirt somewhere. Oh, actually, is it up here? Let me show you this. Love that kit. I've always loved that kit. I swear. See, it wasn't lying. Tenerife 06 on the back. Man. I like that kit. What player do you think of when you look at that kit? I'm trying to think of who I think of. Scholes, I think. Carrick, Park, Ronaldo. Man, they're the golden times. I think of Scholes. Scholes or Park. They're probably the two I think. But this kit, yeah. I don't think I've been moved by a kit for a while. Saying that, I really like the away kit this year. Anderson, man. I'm going to be doing, the sort of mini docs we're doing now. So we've done 3. We've done one on. If anybody's got any ideas for these, you can fire them in. Because I think I reckon a lot of you will come up with some pretty cool ideas. Fire it into the, maybe we can make a little video suggestions. Joe, if you're watching, we'll make a little video suggestions page in Discord where the community, you might be able to help create content. We've done a little mini doc on Paul Pogba and what happened there, the whole blackmail. It's pretty bad. We did one on Rasmus Højlund, a little comparison with Van Nistelrooy, and then we did one on Lisandro Martinez and the importance of mentality, and we did that. And this one we've got coming out this weekend is one on Gary Neville, because Gary Neville is not somebody who stands up for himself at all, and how good he was. And I want to do a video that just corrects that, because it's really quite annoying. Mike is saying you associate kits with the success we had in them. You absolutely do, man. And it's the same with stadiums. And I maintain this one. The Emirates is going to feel completely different to Arsenal fans if they win a title there. Old Trafford has the memories that we have because of the success that we have had there in this modern era. Not just because of it, but memories are created by the success. And if Manchester United were to move to a new stadium, the moment that it would change into feeling like a home is when we lift a title on that pitch. And that could be a long time away. Did it Anderson, the Martial of midfield. Have we ever called him that before? Anderson, man. I loved it. Do you always remember that interview that he did with Ronaldo in the dressing room? I mean, that was fun. A little bit of info here from Andy Mitten. Manchester United are playing Real Betis. So that means, I think, who's our pre-season games against? We've got Liverpool. Is it Arsenal? I can't remember what the other one is. I think it is. Anyway, playing Real Betis in San Diego again. I think we're playing in LA. I think we're playing Liverpool. I remember. Richard, I did see the under-18s lost on Saturday. Yes, they got pumped by City. Man United making a substantial amount of changes. Lots of players missing. Man City actually drafted a couple of players down from their under-23s to actually play. Yeah, it's Liverpool and Arsenal. But United are still top of the league, and it's still well within our control. But that ends the unbeaten run this season. The under-18s had a fantastic run. And again, we cover all of that inside our transformation of the academy video. Last couple of minutes of the show. I didn't do this yesterday. I've forgotten this a couple of times. That was a real wobbly start to the show, wasn't it? But we got there in the end. Fire in your questions. Last couple of minutes. It can be about anything that I've spoken about here. Jonathan, you saying Amas made his under-21s debut, and that's something that annoyed quite a few people. The fact that Amas made his under-21s debut the night before we played City. That's first against second in the league. And some people are like, oh, you got to prioritise winning that title. Whereas the way that Nick Cox operates this academy is different. It's about creating the pathways and the development. And he saw it as more valuable for Amas to be playing in an under-21s game because he's been nailing the under-18s rather than just playing another under-18s game. And that is an opinion which splits people. Tyler saying, any news on our budget this summer? No, man. I'd love to have... I don't think there will ever be a concrete, this is how much Manchester United have to spend this summer. I wish there was, because it'll make our job a lot easier, wouldn't it? It'll make United's job... United will know their budget, but it'll make our job easier so we can predict. We can say, right, United have got X amount. How would we spend that? I'm going to be doing that. But we can only, I suppose, guesstimate on how much we think we'll have. We can look at how much we spent these last few years and see, right, if we have 150 mil, what could we do? I'm going to be doing that video. That'll be cool. Last couple of questions. Just go down here and see what you're saying. As I said, ladies and gents, I'll ask one more time. If you can, please drop a like on the video. It makes a big, big difference. And Nuruddin, thank you so much, dude. I say it every day. I really need to. I'm going to try and spend it today and create some new. You know what? No, I won't tell you. This is a secret. But I've got a really cool idea for one. I need to see if I can get it done. Though. It might work. It might not work. A little off topic, but did you watch UFC? I do. I haven't watched UFC. Well, I've never watched UFC religiously. I saw the highlights of Sean O'Malley. Is it Sean O'Malley? I think it is. But no, I don't. I watched the boxing on Friday, and I hope that's the last time. It's not old man moaning, but like boxing is just in the pits, man. Like Jake Paul fighting Mike Tyson is like, I know it's going to do great numbers. I know it's going to. I don't care. What is a granddad doing fighting a kid? It's dumb. So dumb. But that's just the way that sport's gone. Eyeballs, eyeballs, eyeballs. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. I feel like I'm moaning quite a bit. I think it's because I'm tired. Anyway, I will speak to you soon. Lunchtime today, either medical department or a deeper look into why United might be in Barcelona. One of the two things. Undecided, but you can tune in and find out. Take it easy, everyone.